Hey guys, Steve Trowbridge here. So this is going to be a response video to Neondiamond101, who I used to do a lot of response videos to him before. I haven't done a response video to him in a long while. So, but yeah, this is going to be a response to his video. It was called entitled "The Downfall of YouTube." I believe that's what the exact title was. And it was basically just him venting his frustrations with YouTube and the current state of YouTube and everything. And he covered a lot of points in his video, and obviously I have a time limit, so I'm not going to be able to talk about every single thing in detail, but I don't know. One of the major things I think of his video that he was talking about was, content creators, or at least a lot of the really popular content creators, who really aren't getting that much ad revenue anymore. I don't know if that's changed for some. I don't know if some YouTubers are getting that back slowly, but I know for a lot of YouTubers they're not getting that much ad revenue anymore because of the adpocalypse and stuff like that. Which is unfortunate, but I feel like if you're on YouTube and you make these videos and you've got a pretty big following and whatever, and you've put your whole life, you've pretty much dedicated your whole life. You've basically put all your eggs in one basket is what I'm trying to say. By making YouTube your sole career, you've basically put all your eggs in one basket, And these people who, they talk about how they're not getting any ad revenue, and they're some of them are even really kind of living off of their Patreon, or, Patreons, whatever, people who are in their Patreon, people who have gotten their ad revenue taken away and really aren't making much off of their content anymore. And although that is unfortunate for them, it is kind of their fault if that's the only thing that they've invested in, it's their fault for not having a backup plan and for not having something else to fall back on if YouTube, if the YouTube thing, didn't pan out in the end. Which YouTube as a career is, there's nothing wrong with it. If you get to the point to where you're popular enough to make a living off of it and not have to do something else, then go for it, But hell, I would too. But I would still have something to fall back on, But like I was saying, the thing with having a career with YouTube is there's a very good chance that it's not going to last forever. It's very risky. It's very risky. YouTube, a YouTube career is it's not going to last forever. And it's pretty sad to see that's when you see some of these YouTubers who that's the only thing they have. They don't have any other thing. They don't have anything else going on. They don't really have. They probably don't have a job to fall back on in case the YouTube thing doesn't work out, or maybe this was the only thing they ever dedicated themselves to, and it's kind of sad to see, especially in the wake of the adpocalypse. And another thing that I felt like Neon Diamond was saying was that a lot of these YouTubers, the popular ones, maybe even some that aren't as popular, but I think with a lot of the popular ones this is the case. And I think he was saying that a lot of these popular YouTubers, originally they probably got into it because they loved creating content on YouTube and making videos and doing whatever they do on YouTube. But as time went on and they got more popularity and they got more fame and they were earning all this money, it kind of went to their head as stuff like that tends to do, and it kind of became all about the money, It became less about being creative and less about putting effort into their content and more about, just making the bucks off of YouTube, And again, I'm not trying to say there's anything bad about making money or making money off of ads on YouTube. If you can do that, if you're in a way to where you can actually make money off of YouTube, go for it. I've got nothing against that, but yeah, and I would agree with that, because I feel like with some big YouTubers, you can go back and you can look at their earlier stuff, and for me, there's been some YouTubers where I'll go back and I'll look at their earlier stuff and I'll just be like, wow, this is really good, you know. And then I'll look at their more current stuff and I'll be like, man, you know, I mean, it's not horrible, but like, you know, man, your older stuff was a lot better, you know. I mean, it had a lot more substance to it, and that's kind of the best way I can describe it, is that as they get bigger, you know, their videos kind of lose substance and it's just more flash. You know, it's they don't really spend as much I mean, maybe the editing and the lighting and all that stuff might be better, but I mean, the actual substance of the video is just not there anymore, you know. And you know, there's that, and I know Neon Diamond kind of talked about fans, like, you know, fans of YouTubers, you know, fans on YouTube and on the internet in general, and how some of them are pretty vicious, and to me that's not a surprise. I mean, there are a ton of assholes on the internet. I mean, there's always going to be assholes on the internet, on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever, you know. There's always going to be plenty of them around, especially on the internet. In the world in general, but on the internet, I can guarantee you that you'll find a bunch of, you know, mean-spirited people on the internet, you know, on YouTube as well. So, and certain fan bases can definitely be pretty ridiculous, you know. I mean, you know, I'm not going to throw out specific names out there, but I mean, there's definitely some fan bases of certain YouTubers that I could definitely name that I've seen that are just insane, but yeah, he talked about that, and you know, most of what he was saying in the video I agreed with. You know, I know he kind of talked about how there seems to be this. I guess he was talking about, he brought up like the situation with Logan Paul and people kind of reacting to the suicide forest. You know, the him laughing at the dead body in the suicide forest. And how people kind of had this bandwagon mentality and were making videos about it. And I mean, I thought what Logan Paul did was awful, and I think that what he did was very distasteful. But I didn't feel the need to hop onto my camera or my phone on here and make a video about it. I mean, everybody else was doing it. I just didn't feel the need to do that. You know, I felt like it pretty much spoke for itself. You know, I didn't even really know who Logan really was. I mean, I knew he was the brother of Jake Paul, who I knew Jake Paul has been into some stuff too, but I don't know. I'd heard their names, but I never really watched their content. I mean, I know they're kind of like vlogs or something. I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, they're both trash, but that's my opinion. Don't really care for either of them. But you know, and that's yet another thing Neondiamond101 brought up. He brought up the fact that a lot of people do vlogs nowadays. It seems like everyone does vlogs, and yeah, I mean, you know, not really much I can say there. I mean, I guess when one thing works out really well, people kind of try to piggyback off of that and do the same thing themselves, and that's kind of what we've come to today with everyone always doing vlogs and everything. So, you know, the downfall of YouTube, Neondiamond101's video, I agreed with pretty much everything he said in that video. I thought it was a pretty interesting video with a lot of good points. And I want to come back to the popular YouTubers thing, and you know, them losing the AdSense, and he brought up that some of them act like YouTube owes them something, and they don't really owe you anything. I mean, they don't really owe these YouTubers anything. I mean, yeah, they've pushed out content for years, but you know, if like I said a little while ago, I mean, YouTube as a career is it's a very risky career to go on. It's a very risky thing to take on as a full-time career, because I can guarantee you it's not going to be long-term. It's not going to last forever. It's like looks, you know, it's like someone who has good looks. Looks are not going to last forever. They're going to fade over time. You know, it's about what's on the inside. You know, I know it's really cliche, but it's true. You know, you can be really attractive, you know, and that might be good enough for a while, but once those looks start to fade, I mean, and if you have a horrible personality and your looks have faded, then it's going to be a pretty sad life from there on out. And that's kind of how it is with YouTube, because there's all this you know, the fame and the you know, the glamour of it and everything, the glam and everything, and you know, and all the just, you know, the celebrity of it and everything, and you know, that's all good and well, but you know, especially when it comes to YouTube, I mean, if you're an actor in Hollywood, if you're a famous actor, I mean, that's kind of a different situation, because I mean, obviously being a famous YouTuber and being a famous actor, you know, I mean, obviously one is a lot bigger than the other, but with YouTube, being a famous YouTuber, I mean, it might be good for a few years, hell, it might even be good for like a decade. I know some YouTubers who have been able to stay relevant for a decade, but in the end, it's just not going to last. It's not going to be a long-term thing. And that's why it's important for a lot of these YouTubers to have a backup plan, and a lot of them really don't. So when they're bitching at YouTube about not, you know, getting any more AdSense, I just think, well, I mean, that sucks, and I feel bad for you, but you should have kind of thought about this, you know, ahead of time, you know, because something like this was bound to happen, because YouTube can do, like Neon Diamond said, they can do anything they want to. YouTube can do anything they want to. They could decide to shut down tomorrow. And then what? You know? Sorry. But that's kind of your own fault. Shouldn't have put all your eggs in one basket. And with a lot of popular YouTubers, I remember even in high school, a lot of people would talk about people like PewDiePie and Markiplier and people like that, and I never liked these YouTubers, and I still don't. Now, there are a few YouTubers that I do like that are fairly popular, like Brandon Rogers is one of them, and that's just because I feel like a lot of his skits are, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of crude humor, and he definitely uses crude humor in his videos, but it's in a very clever way, and I feel like the way he plays his characters, like I feel like he's genuinely a good actor, and I feel like he's genuinely creative with his skits. So, you know, if I feel like there's some genuine talent there, then I'll keep watching. But with a lot of these popular YouTubers, whether it be Markiplier, or PewDiePie, or Jacksepticeye, or other people like that, vloggers like the Paul brothers, I don't see a lot of talent there at all whatsoever. A lot of these, and I'm not trying to crap on them, I know a lot of people like them, that's fine, you know, this is just my opinion, but I feel like a lot of these YouTubers will put on this facade, and they'll exaggerate, you know, they'll be very over-exaggerative, and I've never liked that. I don't like when people over-exaggerate to try to be funny or try to be entertaining, because I feel like it's trying too hard. I feel like, again, it's just lack of talent, you know. You can't be entertaining on your own, so you've got to be obnoxious and exaggerative and everything. You know, Fred Figglehorn would be another example, you know, like someone who's really popular, but again, and especially with Fred Figglehorn, I feel like he has no talent whatsoever. He was a kid who decided to turn on a camera one day and make his video and make his voice higher, and he just was obnoxious, and he got a following that way. So I mean, it kind of just goes to show that, and this can apply to, you know, even like, you know, other things like, you know, writing and singing and acting, whatever. Sometimes you don't have to be the most talented to be famous, to get all this fame and earn all this popularity and make all this money and everything to be successful. But yeah, I guess the major problem I have with a lot of these popular YouTubers is that they put on this facade and they're very fake. You know, they're not themselves. You know, when I watch them, I'm just like, dude, whatever, you know. You're putting on this facade, and it's worked for you. I mean, it's obviously worked for you. I mean, good for you, but, you know, again, you know, just the fakeness and the over-exaggerative stuff and the obnoxious stuff and the facades and everything. Never liked that. I always preferred YouTubers like Undertaker Freak 1127, Some Guy 827, The Archfiend. You know, Blair White is fairly popular. She's got over 300,000 subscribers right now, but people like that who just turn on a camera and talk about stuff. They don't have all this fancy editing and this fancy lighting. They just they turn on the camera and just talk about stuff, and they're just real with you. They don't put on this over-exaggerative facade and this fakeness. But anyways, those are just my opinions, and that's kind of my response to Neondiamond101's video. Very interesting video. Check it out. I'll link it in the description. And I'm running out of time, so peace, and I'll talk to you guys later.